DC here. Hi guys and gals. Well, I'm gonna make a vlog walking along to work using the iPhone. I was reading this morning, as I usually do in the morning. I was making a reading in the Bible, and I was looking at names of people. Names of people that were, mentioned. It was the book of Hebrews, and I won't cite it, but I was thinking when I was looking at that, like, wow, what a crew. And then it got me to realizing, I guess, once again, that being flawed definitely seems to be the main character trait in this world. And, going on, I was saying, wow, when you think about it, how flawed are you, Mr. DC? And that's not actually a fun thought, or it's a very sobering one, isn't it? How flawed am I? But it's also, in a way, I was going to say, rather comforting. Comforting because it does take some pressure off of trying to be perfect, meaning that I just can't make the cut. That doesn't mean that I can't work, And I mean, that is something that, without going into Christian doctrine, I mean, we know we can't make the cut. And strangely enough, that's comforting. Because being flawed doesn't mean not being loved. That is a great thing. I was jumping along from that to thinking about the American elections, where the two main candidates, the two main candidates should probably be wearing orange, and at least one of them. But both of the candidates are really flawed. Now, I know that the answer to that is that shouldn't be a criteria, and I get that actually. Being flawed or a flawed character is not something I was going to say that is the thing to look for. But if you look over in history, it's pretty impressive. All the great leaders, and you look at their flaws, and very often the flip side of their flaw was what was needed at particular times. Churchill is one that very often comes to mind. And I mean, for us Christians, is there any worse leader to think of almost, and as far as being flawed, as someone like David, who was a man after God's own heart? So, I mean, that's a pretty good example. And of course, for us Christians, of course, we usually, I hope we do, we will look towards Jesus to say, now there is the flawless man. Okay, anyway, that's enough for the preachy part, but it really got me to thinking once again, wow, that usual, how about checking that, that log in your eye? Sometimes I tend to be quite cynical, and very often they'll say that cynicism, if you're very cynical, the flip side of that is probably looking at reality. And it might be at the same time, when you do photography, there's what they call a soft blur to kind of make the edges of things nicer. Because when the edges are too much in focus and too sharp, there's all that sun in the back, I'm sorry about that. When the edges are too sharp and too focused, the picture doesn't come out as nice. That's also what they call the vignetting. And I think that is it. sometimes they throw in a too sharp roll of cynicism, I get flawed. Yeah, I do. I was not too long ago reading again something, I think it's in the book of Joel, and it was a little passage, that the old men will dream dreams and the young men will have visions. And one could almost say, well, is there a big difference? Well, yeah, I guess dreams are something you very often, I guess in this thing, dreams are things that might not happen or have happened. You hope maybe they hadn't happened and so on. There's a thing, dreams are also in a way looking forward, but very often dreams, at least in this context, are about things that could happen or have happened, but I can't really do much about it. Visions, that's looking forward to something that you hope will happen and having, I was going to say, the possibility to strive for it. Now I know the image, you can play around with the images, but I think that is quite an interesting thing when we think about our personalities, and how life is moving on. As older guys often have dreams, and I think the thing is that try to not make them just be dreams of regrets. I guess that's, if you can teach something to young people, is that, we are flawed, they're flawed, we're all flawed, but can you learn from history? I think you can, but very often it repeats itself because it's part of the learning process, isn't it? It's a good and a sad thing at the same time. But I still think somehow that the younger people, that's one of the, I was going to say, the advantages of the postmodernistic world is that they hash things around a lot. Yeah. Okay, that's another vlog on its own. 7 minutes. Okay, everybody. DC signing off. That's all for now. Take care. And anyway, I'm off to work, so I got to get to work and earn some money. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye.